This illustration deals with GFCI protection in other than dwelling units in accordance with NEC 210.8B as in boy 2. Now notice this is not 210.8A because that would be a dwelling unit. So we're getting into other than dwelling units now. Now let's review the purpose of change. A revision has been made to clarify that ground fault circuit interrupter protection for personnel shall be provided on all 125 volt through 250 volt receptacles installed in kitchens or areas with a sink and permanent provisions for either food preparation. Now notice that, either for food preparation or cooking, as well as three-phase receptacles rated 150 volts or less to ground at 100 amps or less. Now that is a very big change in these areas other than dwelling units. So first, let's review the call-out right next to the refrigerator in blue, and it's kitchen or kitchens, really, and other than dwelling units. 210.8B2 lists the requirements, and Article 100 defines what is considered a kitchen. But now notice now other spaces, as you see in the purpose of change, is a very highly should be indicated area because it says either food preparation or cooking. That's a big change. It really is. And then notice if you're in a dwelling unit, the requirements are different. But we do have three-phase type related equipment that could be installed in other spaces than dwelling unit areas. So second, let's look at the call-out kitchen receptacles to the left of the illustration. And kitchen receptacles, we have 4 bullets, or 5 bullets really. And notice all GFCI protection, single-phase receptacles rated at 150 volts to ground or less, or 50 amps or less, and three-phase receptacles at 150 volts or less to ground, rated at 100 amps or less. Now notice that's not 277 480 volt receptacles. That'd be more than 150 volts to ground, the 277, so that it wouldn't include those. But notice three-phase now is included here, and that is a big revision to this section. And in the second bullet, it calls out for 210.8B and B12. This includes receptacles rated also at 120 volts through 250 volts supply by single-phase or three-phase systems in accordance with 210.8B2. That pertains to that. And then your second bullet, 210.8B and B12, pertains to the first bullet. Now, looking at the definition of these systems and these receptacles, you go to Article 100. But just as a little illustration, look at the single-phase protected receptacle here. You can see it's single-phase. And then notice it's required to be GFCI protected by 210.8B as in boy 2. Now, the three-phase receptacles that you see, the three-phase protected receptacles also have to be protected by GFCI. Now, that's a big change. So say that you had let's look in the illustration where the island is. Say that cooking unit there was fed by a 50 amp circuit. It'd have to be GFCI protected, where that was never required in the 2017 edition of the NEC and previous editions. And notice this is a food preparation area. This could be like in Stallcup or any of these places that prepare food and sell it and so forth. And then if that is the case, then they're going to have to be GFCI protected receptacles. Now, looking at item number 4 down here, then notice sinks and doors for measurement pertaining to GFCI protection of receptacles. Now, let's just take a look at this. Say that right here you didn't have this a wall right here in the illustration next to the refrigerator. Say that was a sink. Now let's just say that. Now this door is open and you don't have a wall partition there and it's open. Then if you had a receptacle that's on that wall next to it and you measured within 6 foot of that sink in a dwelling unit, and here it has to now be GFCI protected in accordance with 210.8. That's a big change. That's a big change in the rule. So to enforce that rule, look at A or B for dwelling units or other than dwelling units. So that is a very big change. And then I'd like to call out if you have built-in dishwashers, trash compactors, range and hood combinations, see 422.16B as in boy 2 and 422.16B4 is in boy, and that would give you the requirements to install them, connect such wiring of these units to the premises wiring and so forth. And I think that kind of gives you a good outline of this, but look at the note now that's up at the very top to the left, and notice it says areas could be coffee shops, ice cream parlors, and so forth. That's a number of things. And if you're not for sure as an electrician, you check with the authority having jurisdiction or your contractor boss and find out about that. But notice, if you don't want to do that, go to 210.8B2, and some of these things are identified, there so that you get a good feel for these new requirements and the revision that has taken place to this section.